Welcome back to the new School Sensei podcast. I'm your host, Lance Douglas. We're here with Adam Meyers. We've had him in a lot. This one I'm actually the most excited for. I'm in the car, I'm thinking of, okay, how can I trip this guy up? You know, this guy, he's amazing. Not many people know, but he's actually can write. You've got a bachelor's degree in writing.
Yep.
You've got a couple of books under your belt.
Yeah.
So I probably could never trip you up writing-wise. Sparring, martial art-wise, probably can't. In the stand-up martial art, you got me covered. Head kicks galore. Ground's got me covered too. Bashed me last, I think it was a couple of weeks ago at AET Masters class. Gave me good slacking. I had nothing for him. I had nothing to give. I couldn't do anything. But I think I could have you here. Could have you here stumped. So we said we wanted to get him in again to learn more about kicks.
Yes.
So I personally want to learn more about how Adam teaches kicks, but I also want to challenge him. So we're gonna put you under the gun.
Yep.
This is something me and Ken have been doing a little bit. So here's your scenario.
Okay.
You have a 12-year-old kid. You only have 2 months. You need to make him world class in Taekwondo in the adult division.
Wow, he's 12.
He's 12.
Wow, okay.
Well, what's the lightest division they got?
54.
Okay,
He's
so
the lightest division, yeah.
He's going to be 54 kilos. You got 2 months. He's got to be world class. He's got to be able to score on other Koreans in 2 months.
Okay.
He's very athletic. He's come from gymnastics, footy.
Yeah.
He would be AFL. He would be a gymnast, but you've been able to grab him. Full flexibility. He can train 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So you only got 2 months. You got to make him world class, and the gun is to your head.
Okay, and he's just started.
He's just fresh.
Yeah.
He's never done it. He hasn't wrestled. The only wrestling he's done is on the footy field.
Okay.
And jumper punches. And the only kicking is kicking balls. So Adam, and ladies and gentlemen, we haven't prepped him at all. This is a crazy scenario. So someone to take on the Koreans, we got a 12-year-old kid.
We got a 12-year-old.
But he's from Epping, so it's all good.
He got 2 months. A tough kid. Yeah,
he's from Epping Footy Club.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. He's a tough kid. What do I do with him to get him world class in 2 months? Okay, 2 months he has a match against a world class Korean, and so he's fighting Tejun Park in 2 months, the Olympic gold medalist. Okay, off the bat, he's definitely going to get hurt. 100% chance of getting hurt. The sport is way too competitive, Taekwondo-wise, I mean. The things that I would do first, wow, 2 months is not a lot of time.
Got the gun to your head too, mate.
Gun to his head?
No, to your head. Not to his. He doesn't know.
He's all right.
He's
he doesn't know the stakes. I think we should be in this together. Look, man, if you don't score, okay, week, I've got 8 weeks. The first week, it's all defense. I'm just going to teach him every defensive maneuver, his arms, his feet. I'm going to spend, how many hours a day do I have with this kid? 2 hours a day?
Mate.
Unlimited, okay. It's
guns to your head, so you got to get it done.
I find a time machine. I go back 5 years to give him some more time. Okay, so obviously, being realistic, he's going to lose. So let's talk about the scenario in which he doesn't lose by that much. So, or at least he scores a point. Was that the goal? He scores a point?
He can score 1 point.
Wow, okay. So, even world-class opposition...
And he can't bribe the other opponent, no.
Can't bribe, no dirty-handed...
No shifty stuff, no bribing, no gambling.
Underhanded Epping tactics, okay. No gang
Is that something from Epping?
Nah, this thing is just out of suburbs road, to be honest.
Really? There you go.
The West, yeah. The West is best.
They need some martial arts out there.
Yeah, they need it. That's why I'm there. Helping the community. So I think the first couple of weeks, you're going to want to spend a lot of time on defense. You're going to want to spend a lot of time on making sure that he isn't going to get crushed immediately. Maybe the first 2 weeks while you're building a really solid front leg game. When we're talking about a very short, limited amount of time, you really want to make sure the basics, the high percentage shots are really strong.
So why would you prioritise front leg kicks than rear leg kicks?
The front leg kick is not going to leave him as open to being countered, and he can use it defensively and offensively. So he can use a defensive side kick as someone runs in, he pops his leg up and stops the guy. Every time the guy comes in, because it's only a short amount of time, we really want to make sure that his structure around his hips is really strong. So he'll be doing a lot of hip control, a lot of flexibility, a lot of weight. He's 12, right? He's weightlifting.
Let's say he's a unit, though.
Okay.
Let's pretend he's not going to get hurt.
Okay, he's not going to get physically hurt. Okay.
You pick this guy.
Is he fighting he's fighting a 12-year-old Korean kid? He's not fighting an adult.
Is there no chance we can do it for the adult?
There's 0% chance anything happens to him.
How would you negotiate if the guy's got the gun to the head?
If it's an adult, okay, I'd have to renegotiate the goal. Because the goal of him scoring on this world-class Korean in 2 months is... It's just that the Korean lets him. The Korean, if he's going hard out...
Okay, let's go the best 12-year-old. You've won the negotiation. Okay. 12-year-old Korean. Do you reckon you get someone to beat a 12-year-old Korean? Gun to your head.
Not beat him, no.
Score?
Score, yes. You could probably score. Yeah, you could probably score if you had a really structured game plan around the 2 or 3 skills that are going to be the highest chance of scoring. So the top 3, wow, it's actually making me consider what those skills are. The front leg
So
side
you started
kick.
defense, then you talked about the front leg.
Front leg side kick, just because you can use it defensively and offensively. And he would also, for a Taekwondo purpose, he would use the punch, the rear hand punch. In Taekwondo, for context, listeners, you can only score with the rear hand. The front hand jab is not a scoring technique. You have to punch the center of the chest. You can't punch the body like a body rib, and you can't punch the face. So it's almost like if you think of like a square target in the middle of your chest, that's the only area you can actually punch them. So in this scenario where he has to score on it, so let's say I don't get shot in the head by this guy, if he scores a point, right? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use a lot of front hand defense, front hand, front leg defense and attacks. The front hand defense is if the guy kicks me, I try and lift his leg up so he falls over and I get a point. That would be the rule. You kind of want to manipulate the rules in this scenario. The next scenario we would do is using the rear hand punch, because he could rush into that without much risk of damage. If he got really good at shooting it, if it was really fast and athletic, as you said, super athletic, he could probably score a punch or two easier than scoring his kicks, because the defense of the punch is a little bit harder. The 12-year-old Korean boy, the world-class kid, is going to be really good at stopping him from kicking him, and stopping him from kicking him in the head especially. So we would almost spend no time on head kicks, because it's not going to score. He's not going to get a head kick on a world-class guy like that, a world-class kid. I've seen kids where...
Not even as a Hail Mary?
No. In terms of, I'm going to die, I'm not taking any risks. Yeah.
True, yeah.
No Hail Marys if I'm got a gun to my head. Yeah, no Hail Marys in that situation. Yeah, so I would definitely have him work all those things for the first 3 weeks. After that, it would be building on his back leg attacks, just so he had the option to shoot it underneath the body when the other kid is attacking him. So he would shoot a back leg roundhouse underneath the front leg side kick, where you kind of lean back movement to do the kick. That would be the next week 5 and 6. And then in week 7 and 8, once you have all those structures, we would spend the whole time sparring that scenario. We just constantly recreate the same scenario. It's almost like teaching guard passing and wrestling and stuff in jiu-jitsu. It's like doing a single leg. If you had, we'll put it back on you, Lance. How long before you can get someone to get a single leg on Jordan Burroughs?
God.
Depends
how much money you got.
Yeah,
how much you can bribe him. I don't think you could.
You couldn't. That's what I'm saying. There's almost a point where it's not possible. Let's take it back then. Not land a single leg, but just touch his legs.
You could do that.
You could probably get him to do that though, right? So
athletic kid.
But that's the first step of the skill. It's just being able to get to the leg, let alone finish the takedown.
Yep.
So if we had a scenario where we just had to land 5 kicks, even if they weren't scoring, we could probably get to that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But we probably couldn't get more than 1 or 2 of them to score, right? Because the level is just too high. Yeah, it's like, how long do you think it would take a white belt to pass your guard until you got tired? If they had infinite energy,
if we just worked, like, you could get someone, even though they're a white belt, they could be a black belt passer in 6 months.
True.
It'd be like your Kimura, even though you were, for many years a blue belt, you had a black belt Kimura.
Yeah, that's true. You do have those the varying skill levels. Yeah, there's certain that's another topic altogether. But there's a varying skill level in terms of each part of each martial art as well. There's guys with amazing back control who can't pass the guard. Yep. But if they get on your back, it's over. It's over. Yeah, it's very bad. Yeah, I think for this specific scenario, they would spend a lot of time on sparring.
Let's make it a bit harder for you then. You seem you've cleared that pretty easily.
Okay.
What if they can? You've only got the 3 class a week, the 3 class group class. You got to make this kid be able to score a point on, let's just say, just a national level.
National level.
So Epping kid has got to be able to go to nationals, 12-year-old nationals, and score on the national champ in Australia.
In that case, we would go entirely on his front leg, attacking the body and the face. So we would just change the topic, because now it's not a Korean, it's different. The Koreans are going to have too much experience, so we'll talk about a national level kid, 12-year-old in Australia. These kids are training 5-6 times a week. Some of them have sports scientists, S&C programs. They're professional amateurs, right? So if I had a white belt trying to score, I've got that kid right now is very athletic, very talented. We would almost entirely go front leg side kick, front leg axe for a Taekwondo perspective, because the axe and the cut can be interchanged, and we would just try and confuse them until we landed one of them. Just constantly go body, then go body head, then go head, head, head. If I had 8 weeks to build that skill, we would just completely focus on that. Now, the kid's definitely going to be beaten, for sure, in 8 weeks. There's obviously no way you can get a white belt to beat a black belt national champion in 8 weeks. But you can definitely land some shots. Yeah.
How would you set up the lesson plan, say, to teach the cut kick and then the front leg axe kick?
Yeah, so we would do...
Let's get into nuts and bolts.
Yeah, cool.
Not getting into too much proprietary knowledge.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's all right. So we would...
Don't give us the entire secret sauce of story martial arts.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of salt and pepper.
Yeah, a little bit of salt and pepper, So we would have the student do hip mobility and control, bouncing on one leg. It's one of the hardest things to learn in Taekwondo is you're bouncing around on one leg almost the entire sport. So it's really tough to build that ability. That ability is really important in terms of the efficiency of how you transfer power from one leg to the other. So when we push off one leg and how that translates into force, I mean, you've held a bag for me to do a front leg side kick. Never again. If I'm standing still doing the front leg side kick, it's going to be hard. But because I know how to move my body and land that momentum, I equate it to like a skateboarder going down a ramp. You can roll down the ramp, but you know how they have that moment where they know when to push their legs into the concrete, and it rolls the wheels just that little bit faster at the right end of the curve. That's a skill in itself, that timing of how to use your body. So we would work on the skill of like transferring force, and then we would work on the actual technique of the kick in application only on someone's chest guard, and then we would work the axe kick. Then at the end of the class, go back to just doing the front leg side kick again. So what we do is we would build a pyramid structure. So there's the athletic ability...
scheme.
Pyramid structure, bro.
Oh, I thought, okay, just had me excited.
Otherwise known as... There's no such thing as pyramid schemes, bro. I call them a triangle of success.
I'll try. Fair enough.
Yeah. It's just like when you draw like a circle at the top and then 3 circles here, then 5 circles here. They're just a whole bunch of circles, bro. Whatever you see is what you see.
That's it.
That's your preconceived notions. Nothing to do with me. My hands are off. Hands are clean. My hands are clean, bro.
Yep.
Just a bit of salt and pepper on them.
Yeah. With me, you're going to smell a bit of garlic. I've been doing that Greek cooking, a lot of garlic.
A lot of garlic.
Garlic and onions.
Yeah.
Almost too much.
Almost too much. You can never have enough, in my opinion. That's the cooking episode, bro. Just leave it alone. So we got the kid. He's doing his cut kick back to the basics, so back to the pyramid structure. So we got athletic ability at the bottom, the ability to transfer force, and you can use this structure for any sport, really, especially striking sports. The next part of it is actually doing the kick. The tip of the pyramid is doing a kick that's too hard for the kid to do. Then we go back to B again. We go back to that middle band because now it's going to be easier because he's being challenged at a higher level with the axe kick because now he has to use his front leg, bounce off one leg. Front leg comes up high on an axe, so above head height normally to get over the arms. Now when we go back to the side kick, well, that transfer of force is going to be even stronger now because now he's worked at the high level. You know, it's like building a cross, a really solid rear hand punch in boxing or kickboxing. You throw that punch really, really hard, it's all good. But once you can throw cross hook cross, man, going back to just doing cross again, that cross is pretty fast. Because now you're going boom, 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 3 punches really quickly.
Yeah.
So it builds the skill back down again once you take the
might take this for our next term's lesson plan.
Yeah. I'll draw it for you. It's a big triangle. Yeah. Here's our lesson plan.
I might take this from you, Adam. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So let's say, you've got them doing the front leg stuff.
Yeah.
I know with me, I'm in a good situation. I do a lot of privates.
Yeah.
So I'm finding it's hard to get kids standing still on one leg, but it's actually not that hard to get them hopping on one leg. So do you do much just balancing on one leg, standing still, or is it all kind of dynamic?
We do balancing on the wall. So we have them do wall control, one hand on the wall, one leg on the ground, legs up, and they're doing their kicking action. And we get them to, as they're getting further along in belts, we get them to remove their hand from the wall as they're doing that. So they can kind of go, for a beginner, we don't mind if they just hold the wall, that's fine, because they're just building that structure on their kicking leg. But to build the balance is really important. So injury prevention as well, to have that stable ligaments and structure in your leg. So the leg that's on the ground, as they get older and older, as they get more through the program, we get them to take their hand off the wall intermittently as they're kicking. Kind of like just use it as a safety device.
Yep.
Almost like, when you have training wheels at the start, the wheels are on the ground the whole time, the training wheels. Yep. And then you can make them a little bit higher. So if you do tilt, it just hits it. Yep. That's kind of how we think about it. And then eventually you just ride the bike.
Yep.
Straight line. So that's how we structured the balance over time.
Interesting. Can you go into more specifically, like how would you build that single leg kind of hopping ability?
The transfer of force?
Yeah, like what type of drills would you be doing?
Yeah, so we do a lot of ladder drills in terms of moving forward, hopping and staying sideways. Mm-hmm. We find that students struggle with staying sideways when they're hopping. They try and tend to go straight again because that's how they learn to hop in school and hopscotch, etc., and other sports. The next part of the development is they'll lift their leg up, hop forward, and then kick. And then we get them to hop and lift their leg at the same time, stop, and then kick. Then we get them to lift, hop, and kick at the same time. And that ends up, your front leg comes forward and drives you forward into the bag or into the opponent versus stopping and kicking again, but it's all about learning to push off your front leg into the kick. It's almost like how a sprinter, you would push off and lift your knee really fast. You don't push off and keep your leg straight. It's all one movement.
Do you ever do like a skip up kick? Like you step up and kick?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. It's more like a beginner skill for us, the running kick, we call it. A skipping up kick, almost like a sidestep.
Yep.
But it's not as applicable in the sport anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a hop.
Yeah, it doesn't happen as much anymore. We call it a drag, actually, because you're almost dragging that back leg behind you. You push off and it slides across the mat a little bit.
Interesting. I like it. I guess, yeah, you've gone through the scenario of flying colours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
I thought, ladies and gentlemen, would have him stumped, but
Unstumpable.
next time.
Next time.
Next
Made
time.
the scenario even harder.
Yeah. Anything you want to add on to that scenario, or any other talking points to teaching
Yeah,
kicks?
I think it's important to have challenging scenarios like that as a coach, because often we try as coaches, I think often coaches in general, try to make students really high level at a lot of things at once. But if you are given a specific scenario, if I have to get the kid to an outcome in 8 weeks, or I get there's a gun to my head, I have to do it, then you'll find a way. So it's almost a good drill for coaches listening and anyone in any problem to give yourself a really challenging scenario, just to give yourself a chance to overthink it. Because I didn't think of that scenario. What would I do if it was just 8 weeks? What's the most important skill?
And only in the 3 group classes.
3 group classes as well, yeah. So now I'm thinking, okay,
Still got to do warm-ups, still got to do a bit of self-defense.
If those are the things that I would do if
chat.
if there's a gun to my head, right, I would probably say those are probably the 3 most important skills in the sport in general.
Yep.
If that's the first thing I would do to make sure someone could score at a high level, it probably answers the question for myself as well. So if you were to ask yourself a question for your own martial art, let's say for jiu-jitsu, for example, if the scenario is, okay, you're fighting Gordon Ryan, and all you have to do is not get leg locked in 3 minutes. You could probably do it.
100%.
Not get leg locked. All you have to do
The
is
way Gordon is at the moment.
You could probably not get leg locked for 3 minutes, but he's going to leg lock you. If he's going 100%, I actually had a great conversation with Tommy, one of the black belts at AET. Very brief conversation, but it was really insightful. One of the other purple belts at the gym asked Tommy, how quick would it take Tommy to submit him? And Tommy had a really interesting question back. And the question Tommy asked, Thomas David is a really, really high-level black belt at Australian Elite Team. And he said, do I care about your health or do I not care about your health? I know it sounds very extreme, but it's actually a really insightful question, because as a black belt, me and Tommy can have a round. Tommy's going to beat me, right? He's one of the best black belts in the country, if not one of the very top guys. But in our role, he submitted me maybe like 4 or 5 minutes in. Now I know if me and Tommy are in a competition, ADCC trials, he has to go as hard as he can, and he doesn't care about me at all. We don't know each other. It's going to be 30 seconds. He's going to rip my leg apart. Unless I don't want to play leg locks or jiu-jitsu at all. Right?
Play a different game.
Unless I just don't want to, I just run away from him. I can last with Tommy for probably like 7 minutes if I ran the whole time. But if I actually engage in the match, of course I'm going to lose. So when you ask those challenges, like, how long would it take Gordon to leg lock me? Well, if he didn't care about my health and I was engaging in leg locks with him, probably 10 seconds. But if he's engaging with leg locks and he cares about me and he doesn't want to hurt me, for example, maybe he doesn't care, he doesn't want to hurt me, and I don't want to play leg locks at all. Every time he grabs my legs, I'll run away from him, I jump off and do some crazy movement. It's going to take him a fair bit longer. I'm going to get a couple warnings for stalling, but I'm not going to get leg locked in 3 minutes, right? It's like the old question, how long would you last if you had a round with Mike Tyson, in his prime, how long would you last? Well, you'd last about as long as he let you last, right? But if you were trying to fight him back, you'd last even less. Different context, I guess.
Boom. That's it. There we have it. So Adam passed flying colours. Awesome. For me as a coach to learn, like get a bit of a sneak peek, see what's in the secret sauce. He's given a bit of the salt and pepper, that single, the front leg stuff, and the balance and the hopping.
Spice is nice sometimes.
Spice is nice. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah.
If you like it, guys, hit us up on the Instagram, New School Sensei. We'll see you on the next one.